Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Ramana भगवान श्री योगी रामसुरत्कुमार की जय। सर्वं योगी रामसुरत्कुमारार्पणमस्तु। With deep gratitude, for this special blessing that we have been able to gather here and sing His powerful name in the auspicious evening twilight time. We have offered the Nama lotuses at the lotus feet of Bhagwan. This attitude of gratitude for every blessing that we already have is very important where the blessings are concerned. I have seen this quality in Bhagwan. Even if somebody should move their little finger for his sake, he would be so grateful that he would often mention it in appreciation. So, to make this possible every day, day after day, without fail, and for the past 3 years, is absolutely fantastic grace. And when you think about it, you only feel overwhelmed. We have been going through some stories which accentuate a particular moral teaching. But yesterday we took up a question and shared the answer to it. Now today we shall go through another question by Sri Raghav from Chennai and see what it's all about. Sri Raghav says, many Mahatmas say that the goal of life is to realize God, but they also say that realization is a result of God's grace. Most notably, Ma Sharadamani Devi says that even rishis who stood upside down for thousands of years could not attain God. But somehow someone attains it, like suddenly meeting a relative in a crowd. Given this so, what should be one's goal in life? It appears that one should make an effort to follow the Guru's words as much as possible. But because of the past sins and the vasanas involved, one is not able to do that always. So, is this consistent effort, in spite of the hindrances, the purpose of life, as long as the I, the ego I, exists? So he says, it's very, very difficult to attain realization. True. And then even the Upanishad says, it is not that everybody gets the realization. It is only the one whom the Brahman chooses gets it. And how does it happen? Why would Brahman choose one person and not the other? For realization is still a mystery. Of course, it involves the whole lot of background that we go through for many births and the tapasya that we have done. Whatever it is difficult to attain God, to reach that state of perfection, to reach that state of oneness with God. And yet, you see, now Sri Raghav says, that Sharadama says, that so many rishis used to stand upside down and do tapasya for thousands of years. And not all of them could get it. I remember one particular statement of Bhagwan, that one day it was probably the New Year time. Some 30 malas had come to Bhagwan, and they were all seated there in the Theradi Mandap, the chariot Mandap. Bhagwan asked those people who surrounded him to light 30 candles around him. And then he put on all those 30 malas around his neck. And then he said that those who see this darshan of Bhagwan, this moment with him, will get the benefit of the spiritual benefit which the great rishis, no matter what the tapasya is, could not get over 1,000 years. So you see, these great people, Mahatmas, they come down in this Kali Yuga to uplift people, and their main job is to simplify sadhana. Just as people who are not so intelligent, we have different ways of teaching them, and we give them special marks. We give them many concessions. God also does that. He sends Mahatmas in this Kali Yuga, where people find it very difficult to do any tapasya, to concentrate on God, because the temptations are too many and they are too attractive. Very difficult for people to think of God even for a few minutes with concentration. So Bhagavan says, you just have this darshan, remember this. You will get spiritual benefit more than a rishi who does tapasya for 1,000 years. And we all remember how Bhagavan said, going around the ashram, how it is equivalent to going round the mountain. So the tapasya is made very simple and easy in Kali Yuga. All the same, the goal has never changed, the goal of life. Now Sri Raghava is asking, putting in consistent efforts to do the chanting the name of Bhagwan. Is that the goal of life? The goal of life is God, attainment of God. But that's not possible for everyone, as we found it. So the goal of life is not putting in consistent effort to remember God. The goal of life is remembering God all the time. Bhagwan said, it's difficult to attain God, but it's not so difficult to remember God. He said, remember the name. The name and the named are one and the same. The name has all the power, all the grace of the named. And what's more, the minute you call out the name of God, say Rama, or Krishna, or Shiva, or Yogi Ramsuratkumar, the deity is instantly present. It's been assured by Bhagwan. So the minute you call out Rama, Rama is instantly present. You call out to Shiva, Shiva is instantly present. And when we chant Yogi Ramsuratkumar here, Yogi Ramsuratkumar is vibrantly present. We are not sensitized enough to be able to see him, but he surely is present. So, remembering the name is remembering God Himself, and remembering God is living in God. Yogi Ramsuratkumar says, remembering God is the goal of life. And to remember God, we have to make self-effort because the ego self is so active. And the ego self all the time wants up actions. I am doing it. I am thinking I am doing. So the I, the false I, the ego I is there, and therefore this ego I has to make an effort to remember God. And making an effort to remember God has been made easy and simple by these great Mahatmas. How they give us a mantra, they give us the name of God. Arunachala Shiva, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jai Guru Rai. So these mantras invite and invoke the presence of the divine. The minute I call out to Yogi Ramsuratkumar is instantly present. Thereafter, I am sitting in the presence of Yogi Ramsuratkumar, in the divine, vibrant, powerful presence of Yogi Ramsuratkumar. And yet I am not able to feel it, then it's because the mind is clouded by the world, the worldliness. All the same, even if the mind wanders to 1,000 places, we have to continue to put in effort to remember God. No matter how many times we forget, we once again resume chanting. This consistent effort is absolutely necessary, but that's not the goal. The goal is remembering God. If you remember God even for a few minutes intensely, then you will be able to see a gift of grace, a huge gift of grace. So what is required is concentration. What is required is faith. What is required is prema, love for God. Remembering God with love. Remembering God with faith. Remembering God in concentration. These are all absolutely necessary. But then, to reach this goal of life, we have to keep on making consistent efforts. Bhagwan always said, it doesn't matter if you don't have bhakti, it doesn't matter if you don't have faith, it doesn't matter if you don't have concentration. Just keep on chanting and chanting and chanting. Continue chanting. Increase the quantity. As you go on increasing the quantity, quantity will bring in quality. As we keep on chanting the name, because the Nami is present, and if you chant continuously, the Nami is present with you continuously. So one way of holding the presence of God with us is to remember His name, to chant His name. So remembering God is the goal of life, and to remember God we need three things. Determination, no matter what, I will keep on chanting. This determination, and then hard work. No matter what, I will go on doing it. And then perseverance, not giving up easily. So determination, hard work, perseverance. Then it's possible to attain God in this life itself. It is not that our perseverance, our hard work, our determination that gets this done, but it invokes a huge grace in the heart of God. And this grace completes the task for us. It's not by, we have to keep on making effort. There is no doubt about it. As long as the ego self is there, the ego self effort is absolutely necessary. Consistent effort is absolutely necessary. But this does not achieve God realization. Then what does? It invokes a huge grace. And the grace attains it for us. So I repeat, we have gone through some story, the story of the two birds, quite some time back. We have to bring it to our mind once again to demonstrate how the determination, hard work, and perseverance, no matter what, should continue to achieve something as great as God realization, the ultimate. The two birds were living by the side of the sea very happily, and then the female laid eggs. And they were very, very dear to the two birds. They were looking after the eggs with such care and compassion. And then one day when they had gone out, a huge wave rose and swept the eggs into the water. So when the birds returned, when they found out that the eggs were not there, they were heartbroken. They could not do anything. They were thrown into deep depression. And yet, in that depression, the depressive state, by God's grace, a thought arose. What is it? Why should we feel so much despair? After all, the eggs have been swept into the ocean. We shall dry up the ocean and take back the eggs. Imagine, this may sound very ridiculous. It's like chanting a name without any devotion, concentration, or faith, and hoping to attain God. The birds think, why should I be depressed? Let us get to the task. Let us start working. We'll take a beakful of water, beakful after beakful, and throw it on the shore and dry up the whole ocean and get back the eggs. And then, so vigorously, they began to do it. So the determination is the first sign of grace towards God. The very thought comes to us only by the grace of God. And then what do? Hard work, no matter what. They went on taking water in their beak to throw it on the shore. They were repeating it day after day after day, night after night after night, day and night. In the meantime, the world, many people would gather and entertain themselves with the sight and say mockingly, how stupid can you get? How can you dry up this ocean, this vast and deep ocean water, by just throwing beakfuls of water on the shore? Better stop it. Stop the stupidity. Have you no brain? And what not. But the birds were so determined, they would not listen to any of them. They were so busy doing it. Such is the determination and hard work that's necessary for this. Now several years passed. They were still at it. In the meantime, they forgot to eat. They could not sleep. They became skin and bones. And yet, they were at it with the same determination, with the same perseverance. And then, when Sadhu Mahatma appeared before them, those birds felt very happy they could take blessings from him, and that would make the task easier. But then the Sadhu Mahatma, like everyone else, began to say, why would you do this stupid task? Stop it. Now the birds got very wild and they said, you also talk like an ordinary man. We don't want your blessings. Go away. We would rather die in the process. Such is the determination. And then they began to do the work again. Now the Sadhu Mahatma, who was none other than God himself, felt, he melted, and a huge grace. He just extended his hand into the ocean and brought out the eggs and handed them over. They were still very fresh. Years had passed. You know what would happen to the eggs? They would have disintegrated. But then God came. He also gave them a final test, and then he got them what they wanted all along. So this is what happens to a sadhak also. Just by chanting the name without devotion or concentration or faith, it's like taking a beak full of water with the determination to dry up the ocean. And yet it worked. When it was accompanied by perseverance, hard work, when it was accompanied by determination. So the goal of life is only God, and let us say God remembrance. And to remember God, the sadhana has been made very simple by the great ones. Bhagwan says, you keep chanting Yogi Ramsuratkumar. The Father has given a new name to the world out of his love for the humanity. A name for liberation. Yogi Ramsuratkumar. So, all of us who chant his name, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, can be very sure that one day or the other, we would be liberated from this vicious cycle of births and deaths. It's a Nama meant for liberation. Even though in the beginning, we may not have this faith, love and concentration, as we go on increasing the quantity will begin to come and get established. And then, just even halfway through, Bhagwan would walk towards us, take us in his hands and merge us with him. So we should remember that every Bhagwan has said often, no single Nama goes waste. Every Nama does its transforming work. Not only it gets us worldly things, it also does the transforming work inside. It's twofold. Even while we get our prayers fulfilled in the worldly way, the namas that we have chanted towards it also work inside, slowly transforming us, even without our knowledge. So let us take up this Nama recital, increase the quantity as much as we can. And let's remember that Bhagwan says, while you chant the Nama, Nami is instantly present. That huge, powerful presence. So if you remember and chant the name, you are in the presence all the time and you are practicing the presence of God along with the Nama chanting. And that surely, in course of time, would invoke a huge grace from God and then would give us Purnatva. It's Bhagavan's promise. It's a name for liberation. So let us do as much as possible. Every day, Bhagavan is starting our day, making us start our day with his Divya Mangala Nama. So it's up to us to fill up the day with his name as much as possible with this in mind, that every Nama does its work. towards God, and that Bhagwan has said this is a Nama for liberation. So remembering it, let us keep chanting, invoking His presence all the time, which is the goal of life. We shall now submit our today's prayer. Bhagwan, we beg you again and again, 1,000,000 times, for your immediate divine intervention to bring forth a dharmic change in today's world. The world today is full of violence, and there is so much growing enmity between people and people and country and country. The war is already going on, a disaster. We beg you to stop this war at the earliest, and so that the peace would prevail. And then there is sudden attack of the diseases, the killer diseases. We beg you to keep them under control. Please bring in peace, harmony, order, where there is so much chaos in the world today. And Bhagwan, the violence of nature, in spite of our prayers, we hear such terrible news. Some 3 days back, what happened? 120 earthquakes consecutively. The disaster it has caused. The 20,000 people, they say, and they are yet to find more. All because of an earthquake in 2 countries. And they say that Indonesia was also affected partially, and they could feel the trembling in Australia as well. We do not know why such disasters happen, what invites them, but it is up to us to pray, because the prayers can be very powerful. So I appeal to everyone to join in this prayer, that Bhagwan should reach out to all those people and do the needful there and prevent such disasters from happening. We hear again flash floods in Saudi Arabia. Now the deserts are getting filled up with water. Only Bhagwan, you, the cosmic controller, can bring all this under control. And we also beg you to uproot all the negativities of the human mind, the asuric thoughts which are responsible for today's world, that provokes such disasters from nature. We also beg you to reach out to those people who have been stranded in varied parts of the world for some reason or the other because of their past karma, unable to get help or protection. They may belong to different countries, speak different languages, and of different religions also. But Bhagwan, we beg you again to do the needful. We also beg you to protect all those unselfish people who have been slogging for the sake of, for the welfare of others, from unhealthy criticisms and reproaches and aspersion. We beg you again to promote the economy of the country and the growth in varied fields of activity, that India should soon reach that status of world teacher, to conduct the whole world in the path of Dharma. Bhagwan, we beg you to bless us for continuous chanting of your powerful Nama and unbroken remembrance of your Leela and teachings. We beg you again to bless us to be sattvic instruments in your hands. We don't want to be Rakshasic elements. And please bless us to run our everyday life as an offering to you. And please bless us again not to be caught by the temptations of Maya, We too want the ultimate state of bliss and peace, but then we need to be purified. We take refuge in your powerful Nama, a ceaseless chanting of it, and joyful chanting of it. And we also take refuge in your service, wherever we are in the world, whatever work falls upon us, if we consider it as the work of God and do it as seva to Him, and that without unhealthy competition or jealousy, and joyfully at that, then all that would become our Atma Shakti. And Bhagwan, you please bless us to practice acceptance of whatever life brings to us, be it joy or sorrow, coming from you. It can only be a great blessing meant for our spiritual growth. Please bless us to be able to feel your strong, living, vibrant presence everywhere and in everything. Please bless us to know that it is your sankalpa that's behind all the happenings of life. And whenever we get attacked by some past karma, instead of blaming others for our own failures and resenting God, trying to move away, we shall seek His grace, and Bhagwan for His part has assured us, but those of us who chant His name, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, and do His service, Father would convert all the adversities into great blessings. Bhagwan, please bless us to be grateful to you always. We seek your powerful blessings for all the species of the cosmos to be lifted to a higher plane. And finally, we seek this liberation from the vicious cycle of births and deaths, for which the dissolution of our ego is absolutely necessary. The ego is selfishness, utter selfishness, which is the root cause of this Maya. Please bless us that we get rid of this aham bhavam and adopt atma bhavam, so that we be blessed with that immortal life, that eternal living and eternal servitude to you, that eternal supreme divinity. Jai Yogi Ramsuratkumar.